I'm Jeff First. I was born in New York City. I grew up in New York, and all through my youth, I knew I was different. My discomfort with coming out was due to the fact that it was ostracized and people made fun of gay people and used it as a negative slur. I still was not comfortable in coming out. It took me a while until I discovered who I was, and I actually moved out of New York City and moved to Canada, where I came out in 1980.
I'm Peter Bramley. I was born and raised in Tucson. As a kid, I definitely felt like I was different. I remember being teased and called queer. I didn't really know what that was. Somehow I knew that's what I was, even though I didn't know what it was, but it was, there was enough discomfort with being called that I just had this intuition that there was some kind of correlation. Went on to marry a woman in 1977, and we had 2 great kids. I'm really lucky in that way. And about 32 years later, after having had cancer, I discovered I could no longer suppress who I was, and it seemed to me that life was just way too short to live inauthentically, so I jumped in and came out and worked really hard to maintain my family relationship. It was obvious that we were going to have to sort of redefine who we were as a family, but it was really important to me that certainly I maintained my relationship with my kids, which we've done really, really well. And my ex-wife and I are, we're still quite friendly, and we remain business partners all these years later. It took a lot of work though.
Presently, I'm an artist. Ever since I can remember, I've always wanted to be an artist. I went to art school. That's carried me, has come with me all through my life. It's what my passion is and who I am as a person.
I started a business in 1987, so that was, what, 28 years ago. And it's a public relations firm in Tucson. Our niche is working with children, youth, and families. My business partner, my ex-wife, and I both come from child welfare backgrounds. We're both social workers, and so we continue to do work, but from a different perspective. In public relations, it's all about communication, and so we work really hard to communicate on behalf of children, youth, and families, people who aren't always capable of communicating for themselves. So we met back in 2012.
Right.
We met online.
We met online. I contacted you, I remember, in June of 2012.
Well, and that was kind of what turned the page for me with Jeff, is that he was able to respond to that little rebuff, but in a very non-defensive way. And I thought, okay, even though I haven't really been ready to be involved with somebody, I should give this guy a chance.
Right, and then we wrote each other back and forth, and over a few months we got to know each other fairly well, and then we decided to meet, and so we knew as soon as we met that we had met our soulmate.
Yeah.
So
fast forward 14 months or so, we got married, but I had asked Jeff on the Valentine's Day before if he would marry me, and it was about, was it 8 or 9 months after that? We married.
That's right.
We got married in October.
Right, and we have both been in long-term relationships. Obviously, Peter's been married for 32 years, and I was in 2 long-term relationships, but never was interested in getting married until I met Peter. So things had changed for me.
So part of my coming out story was definitely about having prostate cancer, and recognizing that your life does sort of flash before your eyes as you hear that C word. And while I don't think I ever really felt like I was dying, it was definitely a mortality moment. And I was forever changed by that in some really positive ways. After I came out, I decided that I would never again live an authentic life. I would always be true to myself and true to those people who I love. And it was definitely a life-informing event for me. We also recognized that being committed to one another meant taking care of one another and protecting one another. And so while a lot of people think of estate planning as protection of assets, for us, estate planning really is about protecting one another. And as gay people in Arizona, we have to make sure that we spend the money doing what we need to do legally to make certain that we're both protected as we get older and as eventually we'll lose one another. So.
And I think it's really important for me, certainly, both of us are committed to one another. We want to get married because we want to spend the rest of our lives together, and we don't know what's going to happen down the road. But certainly, as we're two older adults, retirement, estate planning, how we look after each other medically is also really important to us. And without the laws in place to protect one another, if Peter were to get ill and be in the hospital, our marriage isn't recognized in Arizona. And so what likelihood is there for me to be able to go to the hospital and make decisions for him, even with legal documents that we've prepared for one another, if legally we're not recognized as a married couple? So that's really important for us, because we're at that stage of life where this could be a real situation. And both of us had medical issues. We both have a life that we've lived prior to meeting one another, and we have our assets and other things that we have that we want to protect and we want to offer to the other should one of us pass before the other. So it's really important to us that the state and the country recognizes who we are as a married couple and provides us with all of the laws and protections that are in place for heterosexual couples. That's something we don't have right now. We pay our taxes, we take care of our home, our 3 dogs, our garden. We do all of the things that other couples do. We entertain as a couple with our friends and family, and we recognize within our own circle, but the state and the country don't recognize us as a couple, and that's really important that we be treated equally under the law.
Jeff had his own health scare. He had a sudden cardiac event, and this was how long ago? 7, 8 years ago?
Yeah, 2005.
And so his heart stopped, and I'm lucky because there was a fire truck across the street from where he was, and they were able to get him going again. But he wears a implanted device, a defibrillator, and we both know that we're not here forever. We want to make the most of what time we have, and we want to make sure that we both are okay.